In a small village surrounded by tall trees and flowing rivers, there lived a kind-hearted young woman named Akosua. She was known for her laughter that could light up the darkest corners of the forest. For years, she had been in love with Kwabena, a strong farmer who worked hard every day to provide for his family. Their bond was as deep as the roots of an ancient Baobab tree. One sunny afternoon, under the shade of their favorite mango tree, Kwabena knelt on one knee and held out a simple ring made from woven grass. "Akosua," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Akosua's face as she nodded yes. Her heart felt like it would burst with joy. But instead of keeping this happy moment to herself, Akosua rushed to tell her best friend, Oma. They had grown up together, sharing secrets and dreams since they were little girls. Surely, Oma would be just as excited about this news. As Akosua ran through the village, her sandals kicking up dust, she didn't notice how quiet the birds became or how the wind suddenly stopped blowing. It was as if nature itself knew something Akosua did not, that some secrets are better kept hidden. When Akosua reached Oma's hut, she burst inside without knocking. "Oma. Guess what? Kwabena asked me to marry him," she exclaimed, holding out her hand to show off the ring. But Oma's smile froze halfway across her face, and her eyes darkened like storm clouds gathering over the horizon. Little did Akosua know, this moment would change everything forever. Oma stared at the ring on Akosua's finger, her chest tightening with a feeling she couldn't name. On the outside, she forced a weak smile and hugged Akosua tightly. "I'm so happy for you," she whispered, but her words sounded hollow even to her own ears. Inside, jealousy burned like fire. Oma had secretly loved Kwabena for years, though she never told anyone, not even herself. Seeing Akosua so radiant with happiness made her feel small and forgotten. Why should Akosua have everything? Why should she get the man Oma had dreamed of? That night, Oma lay awake on her mat, staring at the ceiling. Her mind raced with thoughts she couldn't control. What if she could make Kwabena see that Akosua wasn't right for him? What if she could break them apart? By morning, Oma had hatched a plan. She decided to plant seeds of doubt in Kwabena's mind, making him question whether Akosua truly loved him. After all, people often believe what others say when they are unsure of themselves. And who better to listen to than your closest friend? The next day, Oma casually mentioned to Kwabena, "Did you hear about Akosua talking to Kofi yesterday? They seemed awfully close." Kwabena frowned but brushed it off. He trusted Akosua completely. Still, Oma saw the flicker of doubt in his eyes, and it gave her hope. For now, her plan was working. A few days later, whispers began traveling through the village faster than the wind. "Have you heard?" someone murmured near the well where women gathered to fetch water. "Akosua has been spending a lot of time with Kofi, the hunter." Kofi was a handsome man who often brought fresh meat to share with the villagers. While he and Akosua were merely friends, Oma twisted their innocent conversations into something more sinister. Every chance she got, she dropped hints about Akosua being unfaithful. "It's strange, isn't it?" Oma would say, pretending concern. "She always seems to find excuses to meet him." At first, no one paid much attention. Everyone knew Akosua as a loyal and trustworthy person. But rumors are tricky things, they grow bigger and uglier the more they spread. Soon, even those who didn't believe the gossip started repeating it, just to have something exciting to talk about. Kwabena tried to ignore the whispers, but they gnawed at him like termites eating away at wood. One evening, while walking home from the fields, he saw Akosua laughing with Kofi near the riverbank. His stomach churned. Was Oma telling the truth? Had Akosua betrayed him? He stormed back to his hut, anger boiling inside him. That night, he barely slept. Instead, he replayed every interaction between Akosua and Kofi in his mind, twisting harmless moments into signs of betrayal. Oma's lies were taking root, and Kwabena was beginning to believe them. Meanwhile, Akosua remained oblivious to the storm brewing around her. She continued living her life, unaware that her once happy news was turning into a weapon against her. The next morning, Kwabena woke up feeling restless. He couldn't shake the image of Akosua laughing with Kofi by the river. As he walked to her hut to discuss wedding plans, his mind buzzed with suspicion. When Akosua greeted him with a warm smile, he snapped. "Why were you talking to Kofi yesterday?" he demanded, his voice sharp like the edge of a machete. Akosua blinked in surprise. "What do you mean?" "We were just chatting about the harvest festival." "Why does it matter?" "It matters because everyone is talking about it," Kwabena shouted, his hands clenching into fists. "People say you two are always together. Is there something you're not telling me?" Akosua's heart sank. She had never seen Kwabena so angry before. "Kwabena, this is ridiculous. You know I love you. How can you believe these lies?" But Kwabena wasn't listening. His trust in her was already cracked, thanks to almost poisonous words. For the first time, their conversation ended in silence and hurt feelings. Akosua watched as Kwabena stormed away, leaving her standing alone outside her hut. Later that day, Akosua confronted Oma. "Why are people spreading rumors about me and Kofi?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Do you know anything about this?" Oma feigned innocence. "Oh, Akosua, I don't know why people are saying such things. Maybe they are just jealous of your happiness." Deep down, Akosua felt uneasy. Something didn't add up, but she couldn't figure out what. Little did she know, the cracks in her relationship with Kwabena were only beginning to widen. Over the next few days, Kwabena became distant. He avoided spending time with Akosua and spent most of his evenings sitting alone under the Baobab tree, lost in thought. Every time Akosua tried to talk to him, he brushed her off or changed the subject. One evening, while walking through the market, Kwabena overheard two women whispering about Akosua. "She thinks she can fool everyone," one of them said, shaking her head. "But we all know what's really going on." Kwabena clenched his jaw and walked away without saying a word. By now, the rumors had taken on a life of their own. People claimed Akosua had promised to marry Kofi instead of him. Some even said she had given Kofi gifts meant for Kwabena. Each rumor chipped away at Kwabena's faith in Akosua. He began questioning everything, her laughter, her kindness, even the way she looked at him. Was any of it real? Or was she hiding something? Meanwhile, Akosua grew increasingly frustrated. She could feel Kwabena slipping away, but she didn't understand why. She decided to visit the village elder, Nanaya, for advice. Nanaya was known for her wisdom and ability to see through deception. When Akosua explained the situation, Nanaya listened carefully. Then she said, "Sometimes, the truth hides behind shadows cast by jealousy. Be careful whom you trust, my child. Not everyone wishes you well." Though Akosua left feeling slightly comforted, she still had no idea who was behind the rumors, or how far they would go. Determined to prove her love to Kwabena, Akosua planned a special evening for them. She prepared his favorite meal, spicy jollof rice and grilled fish, and set up a cozy spot under the stars. But when Kwabena arrived, he barely touched the food. "I'm not hungry," he muttered, staring at the ground. Akosua sighed. "Kwabena, please listen to me. There's nothing between me and Kofi. These rumors aren't true. Can't you see someone is trying to drive us apart?" Kwabena hesitated. Part of him wanted to believe her, but the seeds of doubt planted by Oma had grown too strong. "If you're telling the truth," he said finally, "then stop seeing him. Completely. No more conversations, no more meetings. If you truly love me, you'll do this." Akosua felt her heart break. She knew cutting ties with Kofi wasn't fair, it wasn't her fault, but she agreed anyway. She loved Kwabena too much to lose him. Unbeknownst to both of them, Oma watched from afar, smirking. Her plan was working perfectly. With each step, she pushed Akosua further away from Kwabena, inching closer to her goal. As days turned into weeks, Akosua kept her promise to avoid Kofi completely. She hoped this would ease Kwabena's doubts and bring their relationship back to normal. But instead of mending, the rift between them grew wider. Kwabena became colder, his once loving gaze replaced by suspicion and anger. Oma, seeing her chance, decided to escalate her plan. One afternoon, she approached Kwabena while he was walking in the fields. "I hate to say this," she began, pretending reluctance, "but I saw Akosua near Kofi's hut yesterday. They looked cozy." Kwabena froze, his hoe dropping to the ground. "What did you see?" he demanded, his voice shaking with rage. She was laughing, just like before. Oma continued, twisting the truth. "And Kofi," he touched her shoulder. "It didn't look innocent to me." That night, Kwabena confronted Akosua again. "Were you at Kofi's hut yesterday?" he asked, his tone harsh. Akosua stared at him in disbelief. "No. I haven't spoken to Kofi since we agreed I'd stay away." "Why are you doing this? Don't you trust me?" "I want to," Kwabena replied, pacing the room. "But every time I think about trusting you, something happens that makes me question everything." Tears streamed down Akosua's face. She felt trapped in a nightmare, unable to wake up. Meanwhile, Oma watched from the shadows, satisfied with the chaos she had created. Desperate for answers, Akosua returned to Nanaya, the village elder. This time, she poured out her heart, explaining how Kwabena had changed and how the rumors seemed to grow stronger each day. Nanaya listened quietly, her wise eyes studying Akosua's face. When Akosua finished, the elder leaned forward and said, "Jealousy is a dangerous thing. It twists people's hearts and turns friends into enemies. Someone close to you is behind these lies." Akosua frowned. "Who could it be? Everyone knows how much I love Kwabena." Nanaya shook her head. "Sometimes, the ones who hurt us the most wear masks of kindness. Be cautious, Akosua. Trust your instincts, and don't let others destroy what you've built." Though Akosua left feeling uneasy, she still couldn't imagine anyone betraying her so cruelly. Little did she know, the truth was closer than she thought, and more painful than she could bear. One evening, Kwabena arrived at Akosua's hut with an unreadable expression on his face. "We need to talk," he said flatly. Akosua's stomach sank. "About what?" "I can't do this anymore," Kwabena admitted, his voice breaking. "I thought I could trust you, but I can't ignore what I've seen and heard. I'm calling off the wedding." Akosua felt as if the world had crumbled beneath her feet. "How can you believe these lies over me? After all we've been through. I don't know what to believe anymore." Kwabena shouted, tears streaming down his face. "All I know is that I can't live like this, constantly doubting you." With those words, he walked away, leaving Akosua shattered. She collapsed onto the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Her dreams of happiness had been ripped away, and she didn't know how to fix it. The next morning, Akosua went to Oma's hut, determined to confront her friend. "Why are you doing this?" she demanded, her voice trembling with emotion. "You're supposed to be my best friend." Oma feigned shock. "What are you talking about? I haven't done anything wrong." "Yes, you have," Akosua cried. "You've been spreading lies about me and Kofi. You made Kwabena stop loving me." For a moment, Oma hesitated, caught off guard. Then her mask slipped, revealing the jealousy and bitterness she had hidden for so long. "You don't deserve him," she spat. "He should be with someone who truly loves him, someone like me." Akosua staggered back, stunned by the venom in Oma's words. She realized then that her joy had been stolen not by strangers, but by someone she trusted most. Heartbroken but resolute, Akosua sought help from Nanaya once more. "Oma confessed to everything," she explained. "She ruined my life because of her jealousy. What can I do?" Nanaya nodded gravely. "Gather the villagers. We will hold a meeting under the great Baobab tree. The truth must come to light." Later that day, the entire village assembled. Under Nanaya's guidance, Akosua recounted Oma's betrayal. When Oma tried to deny it, Nanaya revealed evidence, a witness who had overheard Oma plotting against Akosua. Shamed and exposed, Oma fled the village, vowing never to return. Though justice had been served, Akosua knew repairing her broken heart wouldn't be easy. After the confrontation, Akosua approached Kwabena, hoping to explain everything. At first, he refused to listen, still wounded by the lies. But when Nanaya intervened, urging him to hear Akosua out, he reluctantly agreed. Sitting together under the mango tree where they had shared so many happy moments, Akosua told Kwabena the truth. She reminded him of their love and how far she had gone to prove her loyalty. Slowly, Kwabena began to soften. He realized how easily he had let jealousy cloud his judgment. "I'm sorry," he whispered, taking her hand. "Can you forgive me?" Akosua nodded, tears streaming down her face. Their bond, though fragile, started to heal. In the weeks that followed, Akosua reflected on everything that had happened. She understood now why Nanaya had warned her about sharing personal news carelessly. Not everyone celebrates your happiness, some may envy or resent it. She shared her story with the villagers, teaching them the importance of guarding their joy and choosing confidants wisely. Her experience became a lesson for everyone. Months had passed since the turmoil caused by Omo's betrayal, and life in the village slowly returned to its usual rhythm. Akosua and Kwabena worked hard to rebuild their relationship, piece by piece. They spent countless evenings sitting under the mango tree, talking about their dreams for the future and reflecting on the lessons they had learned. Kwabena often apologized for doubting Akosua, vowing never to let jealousy or rumors come between them again. "I should have trusted you," he said one evening, holding her hand tightly. "You're my heart, Akosua. I almost lost sight of that." Akosua smiled gently, though the pain of those dark days still lingered. "We both made mistakes," she replied. "But we've grown stronger because of them. Now we know how to protect what matters most." Together, they decided to plan a small, intimate wedding ceremony, something far removed from the grand celebration they had initially envisioned. This time, they chose to keep their plans secret until the very last moment, sharing the news only with Nanaya and a few close relatives who had proven their loyalty. On the day of the ceremony, the couple gathered beneath the ancient Baobab tree at sunset, a sacred spot where generations of villagers had celebrated love and unity. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and soft melodies played on traditional drums echoed through the forest. Friends and family dressed in vibrant Kent cloth formed a circle around the couple, their faces glowing with joy. Nanaya presided over the ceremony, her voice steady and full of wisdom. "Love is not just passion or romance," she began, addressing the crowd. "It is trust, patience, and forgiveness. Today, Akosua and Kwabena stand before us as proof that love can overcome even the darkest storms." As the couple exchanged vows, tears streamed down Akosua's face, not of sadness this time, but of gratitude and hope. She looked into Kwabena's eyes and saw the same unwavering devotion she had fallen in love with all those years ago. Afterward, the villagers danced and sang late into the night, celebrating not just the union of two souls, but the triumph of resilience and redemption. That night, as the stars twinkled above, Akosua leaned her head against Kwabena's shoulder. "Do you remember when we thought we'd lost everything?" she asked softly. "I never forget it," Kwabena replied, kissing her forehead. "But look at us now. Stronger than ever. Let's promise to always cherish what we have and never take it for granted." They sealed their promise with a quiet vow, to face life's challenges together, no matter what lay ahead. The story of Akosua and Kwabena became legend in the village, told and retold during gatherings around the fire. It served as a reminder of the dangers of envy and the importance of protecting one's happiness. Villagers often spoke of how easily joy could be stolen if shared carelessly, and how quickly trust could shatter under the weight of lies. Akosua herself took it upon herself to teach others the lessons she had learned. Whenever young couples sought her advice, she would say, "Your good news is precious, like ripe fruit hanging high on a tree. Share it only with those who truly deserve it, for not everyone will celebrate your success. Some may covet what you have, while others may twist your words out of spite." She also emphasized the need to choose friends wisely. "A true friend celebrates your victories without envy," she explained. "If someone cannot rejoice in your happiness, then they are not worthy of being part of your journey. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and speak truthfully, even when it's difficult." To prevent similar tragedies, Akosua encouraged the villagers to cultivate self-awareness and discernment. Jealousy is a shadow that follows every light, she warned. Be mindful of those who cast it, and don't hesitate to distance yourself from toxic influences. Protect your peace at all costs. As for Kwabena, he learned to trust his instincts more deeply while remaining open to honest communication. Doubt is natural, he admitted during one village meeting, but it becomes dangerous when fed by whispers instead of facts. Always seek the truth before jumping to conclusions. Years later, Akosua and Kwabena's marriage flourished. They welcomed children into their home, raising them with the values of humility, trust, and resilience. Their story served as a living testament to the power of forgiveness and the strength of love tested by adversity. And so, the moral of the tale echoes across generations: guard your joy carefully, for not everyone shares your happiness. Choose your confidants wisely, nurture relationships built on trust, and remember that silence can sometimes be your greatest shield. Underneath the vast African sky, where the stars seemed endless, the villagers carried these lessons in their hearts, ensuring that Akosua and Kwabena's story would forever guide them toward love, wisdom, and harmony.